Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, Jessland. And we are here for part 4 of how to set up Second Life Rentals series. Since on the DC land here, that's what Kendra Boo and I are doing, is setting up the rentals. We are so close, you guys. But we do have in the show notes all kinds of information, including an interest form, waiting list if you want to rent one of these rentals, the public landmark to get to the public part of the land if you want to come chill, hang out, bumper boats, play games, go visit the bar, all that good kind of stuff. So make sure you check the show notes because there's lots of information in there. Alright, today we are going to set up the actual rental box on the property, and we have to go using the Casperlet system. We will have to configure the rental box on the website for the Casperlet system. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to take an object and turn it into a rental box, so you don't have to use the little rental orbs or the things that go on the ground with the bars on them, that kind of stuff, so you can make it pretty like the rest of your rental. So I didn't want to get, feel lonely while I'm recording, so I got my little bird on my shoulder. He's dancing, I guess, to the music, so he's going to keep me company while I teach you guys about this. But this will probably be a long video. It's a little involved, but I'm learning, so I want to teach y'all what I'm learning as I'm learning it. Okay, ready? Alright, here we go. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to actually set up the rental object, which is this cute little mailbox is what we're using. So this is actually from the Essential Home, and it's just something I got off Marketplace. You can use anything for your rental box on your parcels. Just make sure that when you get an object, make sure that it is copy permissions, modify permissions. So copy mod. Alright, because if it's not copy, you only have one of them, and if it's not modifiable, you can't put the scripts in them and change all the things we're about to do. Okay, so make sure your object, whatever it is copy mod. You'll know on these other parcels, on these other two over here, since they're more foresty, this is the object. We use this mailbox as the rental object. So since I've already done this several times, I'm going to show you how to do this from scratch. So some of the things I'm going to tell you, I already have folders made and all that, but I'll show you what to do. You ready? You ready? You ready? Here we go. Alright, so here's my rental box object. Let me get into the folder. Okay, like there's the spring planter mailbox that I used. That tablet we're going to use for our security system. Here's a what next mailbox. That's also something I've used when I had rentals a long time ago. I don't have the picture of it. But let's go into the IDDC. Oh, I haven't put this actual mailbox in the folder. It's okay. This is what we're using. And as you can see, it says 0 card posted and 0 unread, because it's literally a mailbox people can drop note cards into, but we're about to change all that. Alright, so the first thing that we have to do, I need to make sure I have my tag on. Just make sure that I am using my IDDC tag. Yes, I have that one on. Okay. It's always safe to make sure you have that on while you're doing all your land stuff. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to edit the name of this object to make it the name of the land, or the name of the parcel. And this is important because we have to make sure that the Casper system can recognize it. So each rental box needs to be specific to a certain parcel. So make sure the name matches the parcel name. It's just going to make your life a lot easier. So I'm just going to copy the name and I'm going to paste it here. Whoops, after I delete that part. This is why it has to be modifiable. And I'm going to paste it, and we'll put the word rental on the end. I'm not going to put a description. We don't need one, and you don't have to delete it. So we're going to change that. The next thing you need to do is go over to the content tab, and you see how it has a script in it. That's the script that makes this work with the note cards. So what we want to do, let me close that. What you want to do next is whatever your object is delete any scripts that are already in it and make sure the contents is empty, because we're going to put new scripts in it to tell it what to do as a rental box instead of just a mailbox. Alright, next thing, let me close that. Now, if you're starting this, if you're doing this for the first time, I'll show you. You go to your Casperlet Elite Rental System. We're going to open that folder. And you see I have a folder that says rental box scripts. So you want to make an extra folder in there that says rental box scripts, because we're going to take the scripts out of the regular object and we're going to put them into this object. So let me res. This is what it normally looks like. There's the Casperlet rental box. So we're going to res one of these. That's what the rental box looks like. Now, it's going to say allow access. Normally, you would allow access, but because we're not actually going to use this box, we're just going to close that. We need to edit it. Go to the content tab, and do you see all of these? You would take all of these scripts and you would drag them to a folder. So let me do that. We'll make a new folder. We'll call it Practice Rental Box Scripts, so you can see me actually do this. So we're going to take, oh, did I already do it? No, just kidding. Let me move this over so you can see. So when I edit the object, I'm going to take all of these scripts and I'm going to left click and hold, and I'm going to drag them to my Practice Rental Box Script folder. And you see how it put them all in there? You only have to do that one time. Okay, one time. So we did that part. I'm going to delete the object. I just right clicked. Delete the object. So that's, you want to keep that folder, but you only have to do it once. So since I already have them in my folder, let's delete the practice one because I don't need it. So that's the step to get the scripts out of the original Casperlet rental box, and we're going to put them into our other rental box, our object. Alright, so now what we need to do is we need to drag our rental box scripts. I just click on the first one, I hold the shift key down and click on the last one, it selects them all, and I'm going to drag them, left click and drag to the content tab of the mailbox. Now I do want to allow access to Linden Dollar accounts, because if I don't, it's not going to collect any money and it's not going to work. So allow access. So now this has become a Casperlet rental box instead of just a little mailbox. Pretty cool, huh? Alright. So there it is. And when we click on it, we now have Stilted Beach Cabin Rental, and we have all the buttons for the rental. Now this is going to look this way. It has a button that says config for configuration. That's what we're going to be doing next, and which is why in the previous video I was telling you all the details to set up and how to do your Dropbox, because that's when all of this stuff is going to come in handy and when we're going to use it all. Alright, you ready? You ready? Let's just minimize that. I'm going to close that. So I'm going to show you, actually let me walk over here. I'm going to be covering myself up in a minute anyway. We're going to pull up this website on the other side of the screen. Alright. we're gonna need to have local chat open because you need to be able to see what it's telling you. It told me Stilted Beach Cabin Rental, an object owned, has been granted permission to take Linden dollars, which is okay. That's what that little pop-up box was at first. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and open the parcel details because I'm going to need that information, and then we'll open the website. When you do this and you hit the config button, it gives you a web page, so you can copy. I just right click and copy the URL because I use my regular browser in Chrome. I don't use the one in World. So let me get that video up, that screen up. Alright, ready? Now we're going to configure this. I'm going to show you how I'm configuring these just to give you an idea of what to do. I need this to show up. Parcel details. Let me try this again to make sure. All these screens, y'all, all these screens. Alright, let me put in my password. Hopefully I remember it right. There it is. Oh, why didn't it let me in? Let me in. There it is. Okay. So this is the dashboard to the website that you get. It gives you an overview. We have 4 total rental units on one region, which is the DDC land is the region, right? We only have one region, intrusive nature. These are the units. If you go to the units tab, you can bulk update, but we're not going to do that. So DC, I have all of these set up. Now I have locked the other 3 rentals because they're not ready to rent yet, but all I have to do, I'll show you later, is go in and hit a button that says unlock, and they're ready to rent. So we're going to work on the Stilted Beach Cabin Rental, which is available, of course. So we're going to click on the little wrench, and this is what it's going to come up with. So we are going to run through all these settings, and I'll show you how we set them up for this. First thing, you need to have the unit group, which is why I said you need to have a land group. So I have 2 groups. This is my personal group. This is the IDDC group. So I'm going to put that in there and click OK. Then we need images. So if it's available, you can say what the image is going to be. So I'm going to enter the UUID. Do y'all remember me telling you that we needed that in the other video? Right? In the video. So you click that, it says please enter the texture UUID. Whoops, hang on. I'm gonna grab the UUID. Let me do that again. Enter UUID. So actually no, that's not the one I want. This is what we need to do. That's gonna disappear for a minute. I want to make sure I get the one that's available or vacant and the one that is taken. So Stilted Beach Cabin. This is the rented version. This is the vacant version. So let me copy the UUID for vacant. Lots of back and forth. I wish I could share both monitors at the same time, but you wouldn't be able to see anything. So here's the available image. So it's set, and then I need to get the one for the taken. I'm going to click on UUID. It's going to copy it to my clipboard, and then I'm going to go to the website. So when it's rented, I want it to show this image where it says taken. Oh yeah. So there my images are set. Plot location is the same as the rental unit location. Payment location is the same as the rental unit. The reason you have these is so that if you have the rentals in one place but they TP somewhere else, like a central office to pay, then you would be changing that information. Okay, description. Let me copy the description from here. I do a lot of keyboard shortcuts, and I realize y'all can't see me doing shortcuts. Okay, so the description, I'm just going to paste it, and I'm going to hit OK. Oh, look, there's my images. So there's my description. The only thing I don't like about this website is that every time you save something, it saves it and then jumps to the top, so you have to scroll back down. So just know that's going to happen. Is it rented? No, it's not. Previous tenant, we don't have one. We just set it up. It automatically puts the parcel ID. I talked about that in the first video. So it'll automatically do that for you. Reserved. This is if you want to reserve it and you know who's going to rent it. You can put their information in here, and it will put their legacy name in here, and it will save it. So actually, I'm not going to do that, so it'll change it. Locked. I can unlock and lock this unit from here. If it's not locked right now, which means it can be rented, if I come in here and change it to locked, nobody can rent it, which is helpful when you're setting them up and they're not ready yet. Accept payments, yes. Time remaining, time adjustment, we're not dealing with. Price, we need to change it. It's not 50 linden per week. This one is 700 linden per week, so we'll put in 700 per week. Do not adjust the time remaining on the unit. We're not prorating, so just hit save. Save this price, okay. See, it jumped to the top again. Alright, yeah, and it changed the reserve. It's kept it to no. It didn't change it. Discount levels. This is where you can add discounts if you want. Bonus time. Like discount levels, if you pay for a month, you get 20% off. Bonus time, if you pay for 3 weeks, you get a week free. Like that's what bonus time would be. Land impact. It's not 200. On this parcel, it's 500. So we're going to put that in and click OK and save. So the nice thing about this, and we're going to put out a prim counter later, and that's going to help. That's going to be what tells them how many actual prims and land impact they have left on the parcel. Because when you go to the objects tab, it says other things. Well, let me just do that and show you. See, on the objects tabs, it says the parcel can have 410 land capacity, and that the current land impact is 215. So if they look at that, it's confusing. When I set it up in Casper on this website, I'm overriding what that says. I'm like, they can have 500 land impact or 500 prims on this parcel, not 410. So that's why you need to set it in here, and that's going to control the number of prims you're going to allow for your parcel or your rental. Extra allowance. You can give them extra prims. So let's say that they're like, well, can I have 600? If we have the resources to be able to give them more and they want more, we can say, sure, you can have an extra 100 prims on your land for an extra 50 linden a week or whatever. Then we would put the extra 100 right here to make a total of 600. Okay, so that's how that works. Delete. I can delete this unit off of my rentals from here, and what happens is if I delete this unit, it will automatically delete this rental box, and it will no longer be here as a rental. So that is what delete the unit means, which it comes in handy if you want to delete it and you're not in World. You can do everything from this website. Reset the unit. We don't want to reset it. Ping, don't know what that means because I don't need it. Minimum payment, initial minimum payment, and maximum payment. I'm not using those because I don't require them. Like when y'all rent from us, you don't pay, like buy the land and then pay a minimum payment to be able to rent. So most of the time when you're renting from places, you know how it'll say buy the land for $1 or 1 linden, and then you pay the rent to be able to rent it. That's what that kind of stuff is. Okay, minimum tenancy. You do want to fill this out. So we want it to be for 7 days. So it's a week. You can rent it for a week. If you're doing days, you would do 1 day. If you're doing hours, you would put in how many hours is the minimum. But on this one, it's 7, and we're going to change it to weeks. Now, when I do this and save and scroll back down, it's going to give it to me in hours. Right? Which is fine. Did I put in 700? Or no, I'm sorry. Let's do 1 week. Just kidding. I don't want that. 1 week, because I know it's not supposed to say that. 1 week. There we go. Put in 1 week, and it's 168 hours. I knew that number was way too big. I'm like, that's not right. All right. Then it tells you if the tenant is overdue, they will need to pay for the overdue time in addition to this. And yes, that's what, yeah. If they're late, then yes, we want them to pay the extra and the new week. I don't do initial minimum tenancy or maximum. The reason you want to set this minimum is because your pay buttons will set up according to that. Now it automatically says your button 1 will be the amount for 1 week. Your button 2 will be the amount for 2 weeks. Your button 3 will be the amount for 3, and then 4 for 4 weeks. So it'll automatically show that, and I'll show you that after we get it set up. At least I think we will. I might have to bring my alt on to show you guys that. Alright, profit sharing. This is I was talking about. Right now it's just me because I own the system, but if you want to profit share, you click on add new. You set the percentage of whatever you want it to be, and you put their legacy name here, and then you hit add. Now if you put in something, a legacy name that's not right, it's going to tell you the user wasn't found. So you can't just put in anything there. You have to put in their correct legacy name. So if you don't have it correct, it'll let you know. Okay, but that's profit sharing, and it'll automatically divide it by the percentages and adjust your percentage accordingly. So that's what the profit sharing is. Subtenants, we don't add subtenants. We let the person who rents the property add their own subtenants, which means if you rent the land and you want to add somebody who's living with you as a subtenant so that they can pay the box too, then that they can do that through a different system, because we don't want to be responsible for adding and taking off. We can let you guys do that when you rent it. The info note card. Alright, so here's the thing. When I do info note card, it doesn't have one. This is the general info note card I was talking about. And see, when I click change, it looks in my inventory and it says, okay, you have a new tenant note card, a new tenant note card with that date, and the potential tenant information card. So the info note card is our potential tenant. It's just general information. So I'm going to select, and there it is. Okay. This also, remember we set up the Dropbox at the end of the last video. You need these in your Dropbox too, or it won't actually give it to them. Make sure it matches. I had one in there that in the Dropbox that didn't match this note card. It didn't work, obviously. All right, landmark. When I do that, it brings up my landmarks. So I want it to be the Stilted Beach Cabin Rental, which obviously I need to change the name and put IDDC. So let's do that. Let's change the name to that, because it all has to match, you guys. So let me right click and rename this. Rename IDDC. There we go. Now let's try that again, shall we? Let's try that again. Landmark. Oh, it hasn't done it. Let me refresh it. It didn't update yet. Update, update. Oh, this is what I'm talking about with names. It's not, you know why? Let me find our Dropbox. It's a good thing I've done this 3 times already. Okay, let's edit our Dropbox. See how it has that in there? I need to delete it because I just renamed it. And let's put the new one. This is how easy it is to change out stuff in the Dropbox. Drag it over. Now it's in there. Now let's come back here. We'll go back to the website and refresh it. Let's refresh. Let's refresh. All these little windows, you guys. They drive me crazy. Now let's find the landmark. Just kidding. Y'all see why this gets frustrating? I don't wanna do that. It's not gonna give the right thing. I'll come back to it in a minute. Hang on. Tenant note card. Let's put the tenant note card in there. Tenant note card with the date on it. We'll add that one. Group, you know what? We'll save it in a minute and come back to the landmark. Group invite bots. If you have a bot registered as a bot with Second Life, it can invite people to your group automatically, and there's a button on the mailbox that says group invite. You have to have a bot or you have to have a group inviter service for that button to work. So we are not going to have a bot because we don't need an entire, like a full avatar bot and all that mess. We just need an inviter service. So that's something else that we're going to get set up. And once we get that set up, I'll do a separate video on it. But otherwise, if you don't have a bot or a group inviter service, which you actually add under bots right there, then you're going to have to, when somebody rents it and you get the notification, you're going to have to manually send them an invite to your land group. It won't be automatic, and they can't just push a button and get it, okay? Because the land group is closed, so you have to invite them. Alright, I know, that's a lot of information, and this whole thing is a lot of information, but it's a lot. Okay, let's go ahead and do our options and our notifications and save it, and then we'll come back to the landmark and see if it'll update what it pulled from. Alright, options. Under options, this is what we do. I do fixed payments, so you only allow the button amounts. That means they can't accidentally put in to Linden and send it as a rental payment. All they can do is use your buttons that have these amounts, the 7, 14, 28, and 28 days, 21 and 28. Display floating text above the unit. Yes, I want to do that, which it's not going to show it yet. Okay, because we haven't saved it. It'll have words above that. That's display floating text. Display the name of the tenant. I don't want to do that because the tenant knows who's renting it. Nobody else needs to know. Display object name in the floating text. Yes, the object name, we named it Stilt Cabin or Stilt Beach Cabin Rental. We want that to be above the mailbox. Display remaining time. I don't want to do that. Don't display text when the unit is rented. I check that because once it's rented, I don't think the tenant wants to see that floaty stuff all above the mailbox. I don't like the way it looks, so we take it off. Don't display the text when it's rented. Don't deliver landmark unless it's rented. I don't check that. I want it to deliver the landmark anytime somebody touches it. Disable prim counting. I don't want to disable it. We need prim counting enabled so that it'll count the number of prims and tell them what their land impact is at any given time, so they stay within the 500. Count prims belonging to any avatar. For us, we need this one checked because we have already decorated this land. So that means that the stuff that's already here belongs to Kendra Boo and I. So we want to make sure that that is counted along with the 500 that's allowed. Because remember, our tenants, if they don't want something that's on the land, they can return it, and it increases the number of prims they have within the 500. Alright, so let's look. What else? So we do want it to count all the prims on the parcel, regardless of who they belong to. Auto evict. Yes, we keep that on. Auto evict after 48 hours. So that means if the payment box is not paid within 48 hours of being past due, it will automatically kick the tenant out and they won't be renting it anymore, and it'll free it up to be rented by someone else. Auto evict with no delay if won't renew is ticked. If the person knows they're not going to renew for another week or however long they're staying, they can click a button that says won't renew, and then when the time is up, it'll automatically take them out as the tenant, so we don't have to come in and manually do it. But it won't, when they click this, it won't evict them the minute they click that. Okay, it goes through with the rental time that's left. Okay, enable object return. I do not do this, and I'm not going to do it with prim counter either. You'll see that later, because I don't want it to automatically return things and it returns the wrong stuff, especially since Kendra Boo and I have stuff rezzed out already. Use prim consolidation. We don't need to use this. You use prim consolidation if somebody rents this beach house and then they rent the cabin on the end, and you want them to know how many prims their specific stuff is using on the whole, like on both parcels, you would consolidate the prims and check that. But we don't want that. We want to know just on this parcel, so we don't want to consolidate anything. Prevent tenant from being able to add subtenants. No, we want our tenants to be able to add their own subtenants. We don't want to have to do that for them, so I don't check that. Prevent non-tenants from paying the rental unit. I don't check that either, because I've been in situations where the rental is in my name, but somebody else was going to pay rent, and I was like, go ahead and pay it. So I don't want to prevent that. If you have someone that wants to pay rent for you, by all means, let's let them do that for you. Just say thank you. Skip confirmation dialogue when non-tenants pay. I do not have that checked. I want a confirmation dialogue. So if it's not the person who's renting it, and it'll say, are you sure you want to pay this? And then they have to confirm, yes, I'm sure. That's just an extra safety thing in there, just an extra step. So nobody pays it and it's like, I didn't mean to pay that. Can I have it back? That kind of stuff. You don't have to worry about it. All right, let's save the options. So everything I did is saved. Let's see if this landmark updated. There it is. Now it updated. IDC Stilted Beach Cabin. Let's select the landmark. There it is. Now it's in there. Of course, when we update this stuff, I'll have to go back, change it in the Dropbox, and then update it here as well. All right, notifications. Let's look at our notification options. I click everything except the first box and the last two. Notify staff 24 hours before it expires. Notify staff when a new tenancy starts. If the tenancy gets extended and they're like, oh, I'm going to pay for another week. If a user goes over their land impact, so if somebody goes over the 500 on this parcel, it will notify us and say, hey, they're over their prims, and then we can send them a message at that point. Notify when a user is evicted. So if somebody gets evicted, it'll send us a notice. When they say they won't renew, we'll get a notice that says this tenant has clicked won't renew, so we know that it's going to be available. So if there's somebody on the waiting list, we can be like, hey, it's going to be available on this date. Send notifications to the owner, which is me, of the system, the Casperlet. Send notifications to managers. I click that because Kendra Boo, of course, is the manager, so that we both can manage these properties. I have send notifications by email. I don't want them by IM, and we don't have a smart bot, but I'd rather get it in my email than it sending me IMs in World, because that way I can get my notices. If I'm not in World, I can still see what's going on with the rentals. So let's save notification options. That is done. That is done. All right, you guys. So that is setting up all the configuration stuff on the actual website. Now, there's only one more thing left to do to set up this rental completely. Okay. What is it, Jazz? I'm so glad you asked. So the next thing, or the last thing to do, because now, there it is. See that? Stilted beach cabin available for rent. Let me show you this, because this is pretty nifty. Do you see how it says 500 prim, 700 a week? So if I'm not in World And I'm like, you know what? Let's change the rent on that. We need to change it. I'm going to do that by this website. So if I'm not in World, I can come in here and say, you know what? Let's change the rent to $1,200 a week. Save. Okay. So when I do that, it contacts the server and now the price has changed. So all of this automatically updates it. Okay, it's not $1,200. We're doing $700 for this one. So let's change it back. Okay, if you watch that, now it's back. Okay, so that's one of the nice things I like about it, is being able to control it all from here. So, I'll show you what it looks like when it's locked. So when I see this, it's available for rent. Where's the lock? Okay, here where it says locked, if I click change, it has now locked it and it changed. So nobody can actually rent it right now because I've locked it. Alright. Now. Whoop. Whoop, that's the wrong window. I closed Second Life. Just kidding. Now, when I click on this, because I'm the owner, I can unlock it here. And it unlocks it for me. Whoops, I just opened the lid. Just kidding. Alright. If I click pay. Oh, I don't want to do it that way. Let me right click and pay. There are my 4 options. $700 for a week, $1,400 for 2 weeks, $2,100 for 3 weeks, or $2,800 for 4 weeks. So that's how they will pay. Right? And we'll do this. This is part of our note card, is showing them how to pay, how to check things. They won't have all of this. I could delete the unit from here. Info is going to be the info card. I can reset it. But they'll have different options when they're renting it. So I may have to do, we may show you how that works, because we'll have to do it with my alt. I have a male alt, you guys. I have a male alt, but if you ever see him, you know he's an alt. I'll show y'all. Where's my alt? Hang on. He's got a very clever name. His name is Justin Altavi. Get it? Alt-AV. But that's what his profile looks like. That's all it says. I'm an alt used for testing purposes only. So that is the alt that I have had, because I use him to do like male makeovers. Because when a guy's like, hey, can you help me with my AV? I'm like, yes. So I whip Justin out and I do all the demos on him, and that's how I help remake people's male AVs. Of course, if it's female, I mean, I'm a female, so not a problem. But anyway, yes, there's my alt dude. Y'all see him eventually. I'll bring him in. We'll probably use him. We're going to use him to show how to rent these. Okay, so that was a side note. The last thing to do is to res the prim counter. It's very, very important that you keep your land tag on when you're doing all this stuff. Just in case. Alright, so there's the Casperlet Elite Rental System. Let's find the prim counter. There it is. So I'm going to res the prim counter out. No valid parcels. It's going to request permission. Return objects on your behalf. No. 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 I do not want it to return objects because it may return something I don't want it to. So I said no. Okay. It gives you some information here, which is fine. But now it's online. So now it will count all the prims within this parcel boundary. So remember how I told you with the drop box, I like to put it in the same spot every time, so I don't have to figure out where I put it on a certain parcel. I put it on the left back corner of the rental. Well, we're going to do the same thing with the prim counter. I'm stuck in that bush right there. Dang it. I hate it when my camera gets stuck. Alright, so here's my drop box that we placed earlier. Remember, I make it almost transparent, so I can still see it to put stuff in it. But let's move this. I love moving stuff on an angle. Not. Okay, there it is. But I always, because I don't need to mess with the prim counter again, I always put it back here with the drop box. So we're going to lay that down. There it is. And it just has to do its thing. But here's the thing. Well, let's lift it up a little bit. Even if I make this, I'm stuck in that bush thing. Even if, let me move back because it's probably going to do it again. Even if I make this under texture and I make it 85% transparent, the problem is it's still got that green word on top of it. So we're going to click that and it gives you options. You can toggle the text. So if I toggle the text, it turns it off. Isn't that great? And actually, I'm going to make that a little bit more transparent. There we go. How about that? Yeah, I like that better. Alright, did you see there's a button that says count now? So if I go over here and I say count now, it should be counting and it should give me a message here, I believe. Maybe. It may just give it above there. Just kidding, it doesn't give it in local. Alright, I'll show you when we do, because I would need to bring my alt on. You have to actually rent it, because there's going to be a button for whoever rents it, and there's a button on here that says land impact, so when they click it, it'll count the land impact and tell them in local how many prims out of the 500 are in use on the parcel. That's what that's about. Because I'm not about to go through the whole rental process right now. That's not what this video is about. Okay, you guys. That's it. That's it. We got one more thing to do. All we have to do is set up the security system. And then this rental will be ready to go. Ready to go. I'm pretty excited. Only have one more part left. Yep. Okay, so if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so you know when I'm going to go live and when I upload a new video. So we'll get the security system one out pretty quick. Yeah, we'll get that one out pretty quick after this one. If you have any questions, as always, leave them in the comments and I will answer those. If I don't know the answer, I'll try to find the answer for you and answer you. So we'll see. Okay, I think that's it. Make sure you check the show notes because there's tons of information, including the interest form if you'd like to be on the waiting list for one of these rentals, and also the public access so that if you want to come hang out here and you want to come hang out on the beach, or if you want to play some games, we've got this, or if you want to go to the bumper boats, or if you want to see the animals on the farm, or if you want to come out into the garden and you want to have a picnic, yada yada yada. We got tons of stuff available here. And my body came back. Okay. Alright, you guys, that's it. It was a long one. That's what she said. But hopefully it was informative. Alright, you guys. I'll see you on the next one.